Our tale begins as all adventures do, in a tavern. I, Fever Pitch, was there with the graduating class of my bardic college as we were, one might say, bar-hopping, each in search of a patron of our own. As it poured down from the heavens outside, the bar was packed with an unusual group of people. I had an excellent view of the lot of them from my place at center stage. In the back of the bar, with a begrudging look on his face, sat an armored high elf and a human rogue with flowers in her hair. And when I wasn't dazzling the audience, the elven magic wielder Juno was, with his stunning violet locks and a charismatic air that could melt anyone's heart. Well, except for the ghost in the corner, that is. My performance must have been quite stirring, for when the festivities were over, the grumpy-looking, handsome and noble-looking high elf Sarah approached me to, well, ask isn't really the word I would use in this instance, but I'm feeling generous, so Sarah asked me if I, being the talented and dashing bard that I am, would grace him with the honor of allowing him to be my patron.
Fever.
Okay, maybe he didn't phrase it quite like that, but you get the gist. I was intrigued by his offer, so I agreed to talk it over with him and his delightful companion Rosalind. It seemed I was a very popular dinner guest that evening, because not a second after I had sat down with the two of them, Juno invited himself into our chat. From the moment the four of us came together, my life got more hectic than ever, which is saying a lot coming from someone who survived both the coup and the sacking of a city, but those were stories for another day. The night led us through a case of a missing bartender, a secret blood sport gambling ring, the retrieval of the bartender, now relieved of a worrying amount of his own blood, and another lead on a dark-haired fae our dear curmudgeonly Sarah was in search of. Our little troop dutifully fell into step behind Sarah, something that I have a feeling will become a habit, as he followed the lead to what appeared to be a dead end. Disheartened by this apparent failure, we headed back to the tavern where, to our surprise, we stumbled across the dark-haired fae, and an almost otherworldly-looking paladin. Her name was Layla, and everything about her spoke of destinies yet to be fulfilled and stories yet to be told. Well, thank the gods she met me, right? After a somewhat tense introduction on most of our parts, and an almost homoerotic intro on Juno's, we learned that our mystery fae was none other than the treacherous trickster of the Feywilds himself, Puck. Their conversation with Sarah shone a little more light on the situation and why he was so set on finding him. It seems our armor-clad friend had gotten himself into a bit of trouble with some very powerful fae. Now, dear listener, I don't know if you've ever pissed off a fae before, but let me tell you this, I don't recommend it if you're particularly attached to your life. Sarah got off fairly easy this time around, from what I can tell. He isn't very forthcoming with details, so the most I could get out of him is that he's trying to restore his honor in true form. Thankfully for him, Puck was more than happy to help him out of his predicament, for a price, of course. Sarah accepted the terms, and in return was given an enchanted compass that would point him in the direction of the current entrance of the Feywilds. You see, the entrance has a nasty habit of jumping around, so without help it's nigh impossible to find it. At last, Sarah had the beginnings of a plan. Now the rest of us were left with a decision to make. We had no real ties to this rather ornery fellow. If we were smart, we would wish him well and be on our merry ways. Unfortunately, none of our intelligence modifiers are very high, so of course we all found some reason or another to tag along with him. Layla was promised rewards from her patron should she come. Sweet Rosalind was in need of help returning to her home, and Juno, who was rather reluctant to come with, received an incentive from Puck he couldn't refuse. As for myself, well, I've always been looking for people that are my kind of strange, and someone has to chronicle the exploits of these darling misfits. I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and in a way I think all five of us feel that way, so please, won't you join us? There'll never be another story like this one, my dears. You won't want to miss it.